you say the image and likeness, what do you think that means? You think you're like the toe of God or something, right? You think you're like the toenail? No, you are the full embodiment, the image and likeness of all, of the creator, of the infinite, of source. Start acting like it for once. And this isn't me talking to you from a soapbox. This is me talking to you because this is me. Like, this is a message for me. This is a message I need to hear every single day. Start acting like who you actually are. Start acting like what you actually are. Do you know who you are? If you don't, remember who you are. That's going to be your job. If you do not remember or know who you are, get to a place where you remember the power that's within you and don't stop. Be relentless in the search, that internal search of who you truly are. And once you discover it, I promise you there's no going back. Like for myself, it's relentless at this point. You know, y'all see me cranking out content nonstop, doing this, writing the books, creating the courses, going out speaking, all these things. And you think to yourself, well, how is he doing it? Bruh, I can't not do it. It's the power vested in me that is moving mountains, period. The faith in me that's already been in me, not the one I had to go and ask for. It's in me. It's in me already. I don't need belief. Me and Coach Bobby Bluford talk about this. Shout out to Coach Bobby. Make sure to check out his channel immediately. We're talking about this, and we talk about this actually quite often, is like we no longer speak of things from belief, right? Those part of his like 5 steps to greatness program. We no longer necessarily say belief. We say no, right? Because you go from thinking to believing, and then from believing to knowing. And you go from belief to know when you experience it and you live as it, right? So I think it's because maybe I've heard of I've seen. I believe because I've maybe tasted, I've experienced it a little bit, right? Or I can see how that's possible and I've seen it in others, so I believe it. But when I know something, it's because I have personal experience. I know like I know. There's no doubt about it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Nothing in between. I just know. I know this is mine. I know that success is inevitable for me. Why? Oh, it's because you have people in your corner. You got people supporting you. Guess what? When I started, there was crickets. There was nobody here. This channel had nobody here. Nobody was listening. I was the one listening. I was the only audience member at a certain point in time. Just like any other channel I had, right? The only one. I was staring at a blank page. There was nothing on that page. Then I wrote a manuscript and another one, and I didn't put them out because I still didn't believe in myself as an author. But as soon as I bought into myself, as soon as I bought into that true personal, that internal power, I call it personal power because it is yours, right? It's not power over somebody else. It's internalized power. It's the power that has already been vested within you. It's already there. It cannot go anywhere. It is forever stationed in you. It don't matter what you do. You can try anything you want. You will not get rid of it. You cannot use it, right? There's a difference. It's like the ocean is always going to have water. You know, it can maybe not use the water. I don't know if that's a good analogy. If it makes sense to you, it makes sense to you. It makes sense to me, right? It can use the water or not, but it's always going to be water there. That's just what it's going to be. For you, you have these gifts, these talents, this brilliance that's within you, this greatness that's within you, this power, this potency that's within you. Whether you use it or not is up to you. Whether you live a life believing you're powerless or not is up to you. And if you allow other people to continue to perpetuate their messaging into your brain cells, into your brain stem, into your neural pathways, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. You're going to feel powerless. You're going to be walking around this life without power, as opposed to living guilt-free, doing you guilt-free. That should be the goal right there. Doing me guilt-free is the goal. Walking through life unapologetically, completely and absolutely myself, regardless of how anybody else feels about it. Oh, I don't like you no more. You changed. Good. Thank you very much. And thank you for making my process easier. Thank you for that. Thank you so much. Now, my laptop is on red. I thought it was plugged in. I'm trying to see what's happening here. See, speaking of power, make sure you're plugged into your power source, y'all. Make sure you're plugging into your power source. That's a bar right there. Make sure you're meditating. Make sure you're getting into your journaling. You got to do these things, y'all. I don't know how anybody lives in this modern day and age without having a meditative practice, a true meditative practice, reflective. I'm not talking about, maybe you can do guided or whatever it is, but I believe in silent meditation. Be in that silence. Be okay with silence. There's a quote, one of my favorite quotes of all time. Still can't pronounce the dude's name who said it, but he's a French philosopher. And he says, most of man's problems come from the fact that he cannot sit in a room by himself, or mankind cannot sit in a room alone in silence. That's where most of our problems come from. And think about it, in this generation, we never have to be alone. We can be with our phone all day, every day. We can plug up. Right? We can have the podcast playing the entire day. I just talked to, one of my close homegirls. I said, look, I know there's brilliance in you. I know there's something in you. I know what's in you. But I want to hear your true and authentic voice. Stop listening to all these podcasts, these books. Stop digesting this stuff and see who you truly are, what your true voice is. What is your opinion when nobody else's opinions are inundating you? What do you believe when you have other people's beliefs removed from you? That's what I'm interested in. That's what the world needs from you. That's what life needs from you. It needs originality. And originality doesn't come from going to the seminar talking about originality. That might guide you, right? Even for me, I understand my programs are a part of the process, but they are not the process in finality. The process in and of itself is to go within and to do that work. What's the work? What's this work? That's a bunch of crock. Some people, they really think internal work is just an excuse for not doing the physical manual labor. Yet in truth, all the manual labor in the world will mean nothing if you do not do that internal work. It's like an example I always use. Well, always. I only use it once, but I'm going to use it a few more times. Probably a few hundred times now because it's fire. So let's say you are Let's say you're a skinny kid growing up. This is what it is. Let's say you were skinny when you were growing up and you felt very insecure about your body. You just felt very insecure overall. So you told yourself, I'm going to put on weight. As soon as I can get in the weight room, I'm going to put on weight. As soon as I get in the gym, I'm going to put on some weight. I'm put on some real muscle. And so you spend the next 5 years just cranking it out, grinding. And you find yourself in a place where you're now muscular, right? Now, if you have not taken care of that internal insecurity that started you on that journey, you will not only be muscular, but you will be muscular and insecure. You see, the musculature does not take care of the insecurity. The insecurity stems from something else. It stems from something much deeper. It stems from a belief system that you are not good enough as you are. So sometimes the muscle can even be a reflection of that very same insecurity, because maybe the girls on you, maybe people are paying you attention, but you believe they're paying attention to you only because you have muscle, not for who you are. So now you're thinking to yourself, man, am I really loved, or are they just loving what I look like? It's the same thing with dudes who use their money as a means to get to women, right? You will never truly know whether or not they love you for you. And if you have not taken care of those internal aspects, if you have not faced those insecurities and dealt with those, you will carry those forward even into your wealth. And you'll think to yourself, man, maybe if I didn't have this, they wouldn't be with me. Maybe if I didn't have this, they wouldn't love me. And you'll think it's the money's fault when it's really not. What it is you have not looked internally. You have not dealt with those aspects. And that's why I believe this message is so vital for us. We have to pay the most attention to this here. We have to do that work. We have to go within. We have to introspect. We can't run from it. You can't run from this one. I promise you that. Trust me, I tried. I spent the better half of a decade running. The better half. I mean, like 9 out of the 10 years running until I couldn't run anymore. And it caught up with me, and I finally had to face it. I finally had to heal through it. And then life began for me. At that moment is when I actually started living. And that's what I want for you guys. That's my greatest intention for you guys, is to reclaim that internal power. I want you guys to be able to walk in true prayer, declaration, power, which comes from a recognition, an inner knowing. You have to remember who you are. And it's not some people. You look at Michael Jordan, Oprah Winfrey, and Tyler Perry, and you think to yourself, wow, greatness. No, that's you. That's a reflection of what is within you. You are the greatness. It is within you. It is within every single one of us. It's not just that person up there. I don't care what your parents told you, what teachers told you, whatever, right? They were in their own insecure spaces. They were in their own places of non-belief. They didn't believe they could, so they put that on you. But that was never your path. Your path was always for greatness. Always. Always, always, always. Always has been, always will be. Even if you're Colonel Sanders and you're 50 some years old, almost 60 years old, and you're finally starting your chicken chain, right? You finally sold your recipe to whoever it is that bought it and licensed it. And now you have KFC. Like, I don't care how old you are listening to this. I don't care how young you are. I don't really care who you are, where you're from, what you do, what you believe. All I know is that the only way that your prayers will be answered is when you are praying from a place of power. Declaration. Now, maybe you want to know, what does that look like? What does that sound like? Easy. Me declaring power says, I know who I am and I know whose I am, right? I know what I'm capable of. And so I might say, this is mine. This is already mine. Whatever I'm doing, I can do it. Whatever it is, I will learn it. If I don't know it at this point, it's going to come to me and I will learn it because I've been able to learn a multitude of things. See, that sounds just like talking yourself into something, but that's true prayer, right? Now, some might be more vigorous. Some might say, I'm declaring that this is mine. This win is mine. It's over. It's absolute. There's nobody who can beat me. See, this is sounding like, oh, that's positive thinking. That's exactly what it is, because we are always consistently and perpetually in a state of prayer. We are always in a state of prayer. We are always in a conversation with God. We are always in a conversation with our spirit continuously. And if you are not able to switch that conversation into the empowering, powerful, powerful, powerful light switch that just sparks your entire life, you're going to live in the darkness. And that's going to be a choice. Nobody else can make that for you. Just like nobody else can lift the weight for you, nobody else can do this work for you. All right? So again, for everybody out there, if you're in a place where you're looking or desire to go from that powerless place into a place of true personal power, make sure to get yourself a copy of my book and get yourself enrolled in my course immediately. That's what that's about. Appreciate you guys. Much love. Peace.